Previously in the book of Proverbs, I talked about making promises, and now I'm going to be talking about laziness. So starting from verse 6 through verse 11. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provides her meat in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come as one that travels, and your want as an armed man. So Solomon in these verses addresses himself to the sluggard who loves his ease, lives in idleness, minds no business, sticks to nothing, brings nothing to pass, and in a particular manner is careless in the business of religion. Slothfulness is as sure a way to poverty, though not so short a way as rash suretyship. He speaks here to the sluggard. By way of instruction, he sends him to school, for sluggards must be schooled. He is to take him to school himself, for if the scholar will take no pains, the master must take the more the sluggard is not willing to come to school to him. Dreaming scholars will never love wakeful teachers, and therefore he has found him out another school, as low as he can desire. Observe, the master he is sent to school to, go to the ant, to the bee, etc. Man is taught more than the beasts of the earth, and made wiser than the fowls of heaven, and yet is so degenerated that he may learn wisdom from insects, and be shamed by them. When we observe the wonderful sagacities of the inferior creatures, we must not only give glory to the God of nature, who has made them thus strangely, but receive instruction to ourselves by spiritualizing common things. We may make the things of God both easy and ready to us, and converse with them daily. The application of mind that is required in order to learn of this master, consider her ways. The sluggard is so, because he does not consider, nor shall we ever learn to any purpose, either by the word or the works of God, unless we set ourselves to consider. Particularly if we would imitate others in that which is good, we must consider their ways, diligently observe what they do, that we may do likewise. The lesson that is to be learned. In general, learn wisdom, consider and be wise. That is the thing we are to aim at in all our learning, not only to be knowing, but to be wise. In particular, learn to provide meat in summer. That is, number 1, we must prepare for hereafter and not mind the present time only, not eat it up all, and lay up nothing, but in gathering time treasure up for a spending time. Thus provident we must be in our worldly affairs, not with an anxious care, but with a prudent foresight lay in for winter, for straits and wants that may happen, and for old age much more in the affairs of our souls. We must provide meat and food, that which is substantial, and will stand us instead, and which we shall most need. In the enjoyment of the means of grace, provide for the want of them, in life for death, in time for eternity in the state of probation and preparation. We must provide for the state of retribution. Number 2, we must take pains and labor in our business. Yes, though we labor under inconveniences, even in summer, when the weather is hot, the ant is busy in gathering food and laying it up, and does not indulge her ease, nor take her pleasure as the grasshopper, that sings and sports in the summer, and then perishes in the winter. The ants help one another if one have a grain of corn too big for her to carry home. Her neighbors will come in her assistance. Number 3, we must improve opportunities. We must gather when it is to be had, as the ant does in summer and harvest, in the proper time. It is our wisdom to improve the season while that favors us, because that may be done then which cannot be done at all, or not so well done at another time. Walk while you have the light. The advantages which we have of learning this lesson above what the ant has, which will aggravate our slothfulness and neglect if we idle away our time. She has no guides, overseers, or rulers, but does it of herself, following the instinct of nature. The more shame for us who do not in like manner follow the dictates of our own reason and conscience, though besides them we have parents, masters, ministers, magistrates, to put us in mind of our duty, to check us for the neglect of it, to quicken us to it, and to direct us in it, and to call us to an account about it. The greater helps we have for working out our salvation, the more inexcusable shall we be if we neglect it. By way of reproof, in Psalms, in these verses, he expostulates with the sluggard, rebuking him and reasoning with him, calling him to his work as a master does his servant that has overslept himself. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? How long will you sleep if one would leave you alone? When will you think it time to arise? Sluggards should be roused with a how long. This is applicable. Number 1. To those that are slothful in the way of work and duty, in the duties of their particular calling as men, or their general calling as Christians, how long will you waste your time? And when will you be a better husband of it? How long will you love your ease? And when will you learn to deny yourself and to take pains? How long will you bury your talents? And when will you begin to trade with them? How long will you delay and put off and trifle away your opportunities as one regardless of hereafter? And when will you stir up yourself to do what you have to do, which, if it be not done, will leave you forever undone? Number 2, to those that are secure in the way of sin and danger. Have you not slept enough? Is it not far in the day? Does not your master call? Are not the Philistines upon you? When will you arise? He exposes the frivolous excuses he makes for himself, and shows how ridiculous he makes himself. When he is roused, he stretched himself and begs as for alms or gift-giving. For more sleep, more slumber, he is well in his warm bed, and cannot endure to think of rising, especially of rising to work. But observe, he promises himself and his master that he will desire but a little more sleep, a little more slumber, and then he will get up and go to his business. But herein he deceives himself. The more a slothful temper is indulged, the more it prevails. Let him sleep a while and slumber a while, and still he is in the same tune. Still he asks for a little more sleep, yet a little more. He never thinks he has enough, and yet, when he is called, pretends he will come presently. Thus men's great work is left undone, by being put off yet a little longer. They die in dime, from day to day, and they are cheated of all their time by being cheated of the present moments. A little more sleep proves an everlasting sleep. Sleep on now and take your rest. He gives him fair warning of the fatal consequences of his slothfulness. Number 1, poverty and want will certainly come upon those that are slothful in their business. If men neglect their affairs, they not only will not go forward, but they will go backward. He that leaves his concerns at 6s and 7s will soon see them go to wreck and ruin, and bring his noble to 9 pence. Spiritual poverty comes upon those that are slothful in the service of God. Those will want or lack oil when they should use it, that provide it not in their vessels. Number 2, it will come silently and insensibly, will grow upon you and come step by step as one that travels, but will without fail come at last. It will leave you as naked as if you were stripped by a highwayman, so Bishop Patrick says. Number 3, it will come irresistibly like an armed man, whom you cannot oppose nor make your part good against. So you can't bribe this man, you can't oppose him, you have to give in. And by the way, this man is personified as poverty, so this man is poverty just like how wisdom is personified as a woman. But that's the explanation of laziness being dangerous, how you shouldn't be that way, but you should be up and ready to do anything you can for the Lord and for your family to provide for them. Now I'm going to be moving on to the 7 abominations that God hates. God isn't just love, he also hates, or as the Catholic puts it, the 7 deadly sins.